Actually, I'm probably I'm just gonna go to sleep.
Oh,
And right now I'm froggy, right? But it's only gonna last for like
on
another
a
hour or so.
ciggy. No, I hit my crash during the workout. It was like the second set. I was like,
Dude,
fuck.
the past week I've been going to the gym and I'm like, fuck, I really don't want to be here. I'm feeling lazy, but then I'm like, this is a lifestyle, you know?
Are we live?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Hey, so they just heard you say everything.
What'd I
Did you
say?
say anything bad?
I don't think so.
I don't think I said anything bad either. Oh, we're just talking about crashes.
Yeah, I just crashed out. Yeah, whatever.
Mm. But then I go and I'm like, man, I I took your advice and I'm like, dang, I'm gonna aim for my workouts and get them like under an hour.
Yeah, bro. You don't need you don't
Yeah,
need a
bro.
lot of time.
The only time I'm gonna spend more than an hour if it's like I got time and it's
I'm
gonna be like a heavy day of like the
I
three.
mean, don't get it wrong.
Because 20 minutes of that is cardio for me.
Like
So I got 45 minutes just to get a good pump in.
don't get it wrong. I enjoy taking my time working out, taking 2 hours there, just enjoying the workout. Hopping on the phone, talking to whoever I'm with. And just working out, taking my time. But as of lately, as of right now, at the stage of my life, I got bigger priorities.
Yeah, I kind of like,
Got work.
I had a big mind shift lately and it's like, man, you gotta love what you're doing because then it's like you're not really working. You're getting better and you're working, but like our life, like it's weird. I had a dilemma
That's
the
a
other
good point,
day.
though.
Like,
That's a good point that you just touched base on because I kind of had that epiphany as well, where for for such a long time it sucked running this business, but now it's kind of like, hey, I'm
like
get
at first you're like, I don't want to go. Gotta work.
now.
Tired. It's hot. It's cold.
Since we're talking about the gym, it's like you're trying to lift. I don't know what's heavy. Let's just say 2 plates on squat.
225.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy, right? At first, it's heavy as hell. You're struggling. Sometimes you fail. Sometimes you can't get it up. It's uncomfortable, and then eventually it starts like you get stronger. Then you get stronger. Then it's like, okay, hey, this easy money. I can do this like nothing. And that's how I've described this entrepreneurship. It's been getting a whole lot smoother, and I'm
Yeah,
slowly but surely
I can kind of
figuring
see
it out.
that. Like you're coming, like, man, I gotta work in the rain, snow, shine, heat. But then you're like, dang, this is for me. This is my life. This is my business. This is what I want to do. Let me be happy. Let me enjoy coming now.
I
Like
think
I
we're
can relate it to what I'm doing too.
we're
So
always looking for a reason to be negative, to be in a bad mood. Why not look for a reason to be in a good
right.
mood?
So this is where I got the epiphany. Right. I'm gonna use an application for school. We think of homework and we're like, ugh, gross. I don't want to do homework. I'm gonna do anything but homework. Right. But then I thought about it. Hey, this is what I'm doing. Like I'm going to school. This is what I'm spending money on and time. Why not enjoy it? Why not enjoy doing the homework? Why not enjoy learning, trying to figure it out? Instead of complaining, like, oh fuck, I gotta do it tomorrow. It's due. Like, you tell
Enjoy
your
the
dog,
suck, embrace the
yeah,
suck.
embrace the suck. Like, fuck, you're spending hours doing homework all day, or have an assignment due tomorrow, or whatever. But it's like, well, why am I gonna complain about something I'm choosing to do? Like, this is what I'm going to school for. So my life is. Like, if I don't go to school, what do I do? What we always say, just go to the regular 9 to 5, get an apartment, settle down, and that's it. But at least the school part's like my challenge, at least.
Yeah, it's gratitude in the fact that we get to live life how we want to live it. We're living life on our terms. We're accepting what we have to do, right? But it's kind of like how you are mentioning being grateful for the early mornings, for the late nights, for the times I don't want to work, for the sacrifices that I have to make in order to make this thing work. How privileged are we to be able to have the opportunity to make those sacrifices, to make those choices that maybe they're not easy, but we know that they're contributing towards, our future that we want for ourselves.
Yeah, like what a blessing it is to wake up tired from the work that you've been putting in.
Yeah,
What a blessing it is to be struggling.
when you're chasing your dreams, and it's that repetitive cycle of just get up, work all day, work, and just consistently finding ways to grow, consistently finding ways to get yourself just that much closer towards the dream. And how privileged and how grateful are we that we're living in a country that allows us this opportunity, that God even allows us to live that we're even healthy. We're healthy enough to where we can focus and worry about work instead of worrying about whether or not we have another day to live, or struggling about how we're going to find meals, or if we're in a war torn country. We don't have those type of problems, thanks to God. So we have this opportunity right now to chase our dreams and live life how we want to live it, where a lot of people don't make that choice or they don't have that choice. And so it's just approaching things with gratitude. I think it was Tony Robbins who said it, but it's as soon as you start approaching things with the feeling of gratitude, that's whenever everything starts to switch, because you can find anything negative in anything. It's kind of like how Raul said, if I want to look for negative things in my life, I will find it. But when you approach everything with gratitude, then it's much easier to accept it and to appreciate it. Like, think about it as if I really hated your guts right now, Jeremy, right? If I really hated your guts, then everything that you would say right now, I'd be like, man, this guy sucks. He don't know what he's talking about. Shut up, right? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if I'm over here with like, I appreciate you, and I approach this with gratitude, right? Then it's all of a sudden it's like, you know what, Jeremy, he's saying some insightful stuff here. How can I apply this to my life? Like, this is going to help me grow in this area of my life that I've been struggling, just by making that mental switch. And I think we've all been testaments of making those mental switches where at first it seems like you're wired to think the other way. Like, you're wired to think things negatively. You're wired to be more, pessimistic, glass half empty instead of glass half full.
I've been looking at the glass half full lately a lot. It's kind of weird. You notice that change. You notice that when your mental shifts, like that little switch from looking at everything negative. It's like, hey, why am I complaining about what I'm choosing to do every day? Like, that's kind of dumb. You're kind of productive. Like, I'm doing something every day, but I hate it. So now then you feel that mental switch. Like, whoa, if I look at it as the perspective of, this is what I'm living for. This is what I want to do. This is, I enjoy it. How else would I spend my time if I wasn't learning? What would I be doing? Doing scrolling, probably working 9 to 5. So when I flipped it, I knew, and I was like, wow. It would be hard to explain this to a lot of people, though. I think, like, if I were to talk to just like a random person on the street, and I'd say like, hey, I love learning. I love doing homework. They'll probably think I'm weird. Kind of similar, like if Raul would tell someone, I love going to work, and they don't know that it's his business, though. Most people don't love going to work.
Like, if you're saying, oh man, I love that I work 60, 80 hours a week, just to barely make it by, you know what I'm saying? And I'm still not where I want to be yet, but I think it's falling in love with the process. And you have to have that mental switch, because I don't think you can make it if you have those unrealistic expectations to make it and become rich within a year. Like, I think you have to accept the fact that it is a process, that you're going to grow, and that's required before you should attain that success that you're hungry for. And whenever you're able to look at it in that sort of lens, you give yourself time, instead of having these expectations that you're going to have to achieve everything right here, right now, and that you can't fail, and that every time you don't meet your quota, oh, that's a fail, and you take it to heart, and now you start looking at yourself in a negative light. You start doubting yourself, instead of seeing, you know what, this is a journey that I'm embarking down. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs. I'm going to fail, I'm going to win. But at the end of the day, the end of the journey is just me becoming the best version of myself. And I know at the end of the tunnel that I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna win. Why? We got God on our side. Can't lose.
Always. And it's crazy too that I'm seeing like our free will come more to fruition now, because tomorrow, you're on your own, you're working, bills are paid, whatever. If you wanted to go on a trip, who's gonna stop you? Nobody. If you wanted to move in with one of your girlfriends, who's gonna stop you? Nobody. So it's like, dang, we're really in full control. Like,
it's an open world.
We're
game,
open world. We're really
it's open world.
full
Bro.
control of our lives. If I wanted to drop out of school tomorrow and go work at Walmart, I could. If I wanted to, if I could afford it, fly to freaking Japan tomorrow, I would. Like, it's weird. It's weird how that kind of that mind shifts.
Something we don't realize is that we're living the life we prayed for. And like, on my behalf, I prayed to become an entrepreneur. I prayed to own a business. I pray to be able to take care of my people, my family, and in a way, for example, as of lately, I feel as if I'm being tested to, for example, taking care of my mother, and we think of it as, oh, hey, I got to wait till I become quote unquote successful, till I reach this, till I reach that. And as of lately, I've been seeing it as like, no, hey, God's testing me to see if I am who I am, if I am who I say I am without that quote unquote success. And that's how I've been seeing it. And I think for a very long time, similar to Jeremy, I've been looking at things like maybe in a negative way. I'm just like, you know what? Hey, I am busy right now. That's a good thing. Hey, I am tired, and that's a good thing. Hey, I'm working from the ass crack of dawn till nighttime, and that's a good thing, Hey, I'm able to take care of my mom now. Hey, that's a good thing, And just being able to realize that we're living in what we used to pray for, and then what we are praying for today, we're continuously building towards that, and feels like you don't even realize it for a long time.
We always we well, not always, but we tend to talk about it every once in a while, not really understanding how far it is that we've each come as individuals. But we've also learned that's just kind of how life works. We had to give time, right? We haven't had enough time yet, and I think that's it's good and bad. Like, you want to be present. Ultimately, like, you want to be very present in the life that you got right now, so that you're able to appreciate what you have full gratitude for your life, and live life to the fullest now. But at the same time, also understanding that the work that you're putting in today isn't only for today. It's help contributing towards the person that you're going to become later on down the road.
It's compounding, and
Yeah.
you get little tells here and there that, hey, you're on the right path. Hey, keep going, keep going, keep going.
These mentorships are wild. It kind of made me think like, dang, I'm barely 24. When does the frontal lobe finish developing? Because I golly, my mind's just like a galaxy up in there, bro.
We are already winning,
Yeah,
We're
it was
already
like
winning.
those mentorships. They've happened pretty recently, within like the past week or two. So I've been feeling good on that, and like applying it to the gym. Like when I don't want to work out, I'm like, fuck, I don't want to be here. I'm like kind of doing it. I think about it like you said, it's a lifestyle. It's compounding every day. It's easier to go for a 20-minute treadmill and a light lift than having to dread intense 2 hour, 3 hour sessions every twice a week or something like that. Instead of going consistently for like 20, 30 minutes a day. It's easier too, because then you don't have to cut into your schedule as much. You mentioned like you got bigger priorities right now than working out, and I can see that. So you don't want to like take up 2, 3 hours on the gym when you can get a good workout in one. It's easier, and then you can use the other 2 hours for something else. So I'm realizing that now as well.
Yeah, and I found, bro, you really don't need 2 hours, 3 hours to get a good workout in. You can get a quality workout in an hour or less. Most of the time, that if you're not, it's like because you're lollygagging, you're on your phone, you're taking too long of breaks, you're doing too much. So I'm like, yeah, I'd rather I can take an hour and I'm good.
Yeah, it's in the point too where I just put on my headphones, but I don't even play music. I just
I've been doing that a lot. I've been doing that a lot lately, especially at work.
just so people don't talk to me.
I just have my headphones on, and then I don't put anything on. Just dead silent.
Yeah, it's locked in at that point. It's like, what? Why do I have them on then?
Something I've been doing lately, and that's been really helping me be locked in and, what's a good word? I guess diligent with my time, is literally grabbing my phone, putting a timer, setting it down, and just, all right, I'm going to take an hour and a half to do this, or I'm going to take 2 hours to do this. Boom. Once it goes off, I should either be done with it completely or getting close to finishing it. And then once I'm done with that, all right, on to the next thing, put on another timer. And that has increased my productivity so much.
What if you do like an hour and a half and you end up like the one SpongeBob episode where he is writing all night and it's just the bee? What if you pull something like that?
Oh, I guess that's where you got to hold yourself accountable, and you actually have to put in work. And I think, I forgot who said this, but we tend to, and I fell victim of this too, right? Where we think we're putting in so much work the whole day, but exactly, you're just writing the That's it, you know, and you're not being productive at all. But when you're actually, hey, set goals, set tasks, and you're actually going one by one and completing them and knocking them out, and then going on to the next thing. Okay, hey, what's next? Okay, what's next? Setting a timer. Okay, what's next? And then you run it. Then you run into the problem of like, oh crap. Okay, hey, what should I do? But that's where we always say, hey, there's always something to do.
I think one thing that I've been employing in mine that's increased my productivity is just literally physically writing out my to-do list. And then whenever I'm able to scratch something off of that to-do list, bro, it feels like just like a hit of dopamine, bro. It's like, I don't know, it's just
you go
it's
in
crazy
order?
when you no, I just hop from it's just based on
whatever
priority,
gets done.
whatever gets done. But having that actual to-do list, and then one thing that my broker always tells me, she's like, I don't like doing anything that doesn't make me money. So I only work on things that make me money. So if it doesn't make me money, I'm not doing it. And so that's kind of how I've been approaching things a little bit. Like, of course, there's things that I do that don't make me money right now, but I'm like, you know, I'm gonna have with the expectations that it'll make me money in the future, or to at least be conducive towards, you know, helping me grow. But that's what she always tells me. It's like, if it's not making you money, don't waste your time doing it. So that's one thing.
That kind of had a thought. I had a like, it's weird. Like we all, I don't know, we connected. We're Bluetooth right now.
Because we're on our periods together.
Because I had that same thought. Like, I've even had the thought of deleting Snapchat, only because like I don't even have that many views no more. I probably get like no more than 100 now, right? But my so-called promotion and advertisement for KRUE and Confessions would just be Instagram and Facebook. Snapchat, I feel like whoever I have on there has already seen my ads, and I'm gonna get who I can from there. Whereas like on Instagram or Facebook, you know, people will always see it. They can always click on your profile. It's not really like that on Snapchat. Because I had the thought, well, you know, if it's not making me money, why am I wasting my time on it? So if I catch myself snapping people, or I still struggle with watching stories, I'm like, why do I want to see you going out to your local bar at 12 o'clock getting drunk? Like, what does that have to do with me? They didn't make me money, wasted my time, and I gave you my energy. So I've thought about like just deleting Snapchat in general. People could say, oh, all your pictures. Well, photo books are a thing. Your storage is a thing. Your friends, well, my friends that I need or that I want in my life will have my number. Those that have my number will have my number. So I've been really thinking like just cleaning up my phone, like with a lot of things, especially apps.
I've been doing kind of what he's said, like where I'll just delete apps, even if I delete them for like for example Instagram, I deleted it for like 2 days. Mm-hmm. I only downloaded it again because I had to post.
You can always re-download it.
Yeah, it's just for advertisement.
I just delete them, and then you realize like you don't need them. Like you don't need the apps, and more times you're like, it's just a distraction. That's all it is. Literally, it's just a distraction, and then you realize like how much social media is just like a gooner island, bro.
It's freaking brain rot.
It's literally brain rot, and you know, what is it called? I forget the word, but it's basically just horny. Like
for attention.
Yeah.
It's all attention.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's people are vying for your attention. That's why they always say that we're in a attention economy, and so that's all it is people are just trying to steal your attention. And so if you're not investing your time, energy, or your attention towards helping this grow, your business grow, or you grow spiritually or physically, mentally, then you know what is it helping grow? Helping grow somebody else's pockets, more than likely. So
yeah, it was a good little start. We had a lot of growth in this past week. Seems like we have a lot of growth every week. Oh my goodness. It's pretty crazy.
It's been a long week. This month's been long.
It's been a long week, and it's only Thursday. We usually do Friday.
This month's been long.
A week yet. It's been a week.
Productivity, Monday, bro. We're productive. That goes to show.
Monday was MLK Day, so it was an even shorter week.
We're productive, bro.
It was.
It's pretty crazy.
I closed on Tuesday.
We do so much that we have so much to talk about once we get here. You know,
we just saw each other
all within a week.
We had a Thursday night game instead of a Sunday night game.
Who does it like us, bro? Who does it like us? Nobody. God did.
But congratulations.
A lot of people. There was a hater, bro. There was a hater that unfollowed or unsubscribed. I saw it. I don't know who that hater was.
Fuck him.
Well, it was a 106.
Yep.
Now it's a 105 then.
Hater, bro. Yep.
To the moon.
To the moon. Hey, we're in triple digits.
I'm not even tripping about it. I'm like, all right, what's the next goal, next step? 200. Till
We're
we
in triple digits. I'm happy. I
Nah, we
remember
gotta hit
we're
a quarter.
We're chasing triple digits.
Gotta hit a quarter.
Since
That's the next one.
last year. Yeah, now it's a quarter.
And then half. And then
Yeah.
1.
And then 1,000. That'd be crazy. Whenever it happens, it'll be like, wow, we're finally here, and then we actually make money.
Prior. Whose turn?
Yeah.
I went last time, so I think it was Taco starts again.
Is it me?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Oh my gosh! You just showed the confessions podcast your new hair.
You just blinded them.
You
I
just
don't think they
blinded
knew.
them, bro. I don't think they were ready for that.
Yeah.
It's because I took it off for the prayer.
You didn't even say. You didn't.
Alright.
You didn't even warn them.
You even say, yeah. You just here's Johnny.
All right. Thank you, God, for today. Thank you, God, for this past week that we've had of working, being productive, and growing. And God, I just thank you for this opportunity to come together and do the #1 podcast in the world, Confessions. And thank you for allowing us to just connect and grow and get deeper in your word and grow spiritually, mentally, and in our faith, God. And I just pray that as we, read your word and as you use us as your instruments, as your vessels to communicate your word, I pray that people are able to absorb it and use it in their own lives and grow closer to you and grow their own relationship in your life, God. So thank you, God, for this opportunity, for this platform. And thank you, God, for these two gentlemen here that are my best friends. I wouldn't want to do this with anybody else. Grateful, God. Thank you, God. Just grateful. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All righty. We are in Proverbs chapter, what is it?
I wouldn't know.
15, I think.
15?
I think we're 15. Yeah. I think so. All right.
Was it 15?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm getting there.
Yeah. Okay. Here, I'll start off. I haven't read in a minute. Contrast the upright and the wicked. A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. The tongue of the wise makes knowledge acceptable, but the mouth of fools spouts folly. The eyes of the Lord are in every place, watching the evil and the good. A soothing tongue is a tree of life, but perversion in it crushes the spirit. A fool rejects his father's discipline, but he who regards reproof is sensible. Great wealth is in the house of the righteous, but trouble is in the income of the wicked. The lips of the wise spread knowledge, but the hearts of fools are not so. The sacrifice of the wicked is an abomination to the Lord, but the prayer of the upright is his delight. The way of the wicked is an abomination to the Lord, but he loves one who pursues righteousness. Grievous punishment is for him who forsakes the way. He who hates reproof will die. Sheol and Abaddon lie open before the Lord. How much more the hearts of men? A scoffer does not love one who reproves him. He will not go to the wise. A joyful heart makes a cheerful face, but when the heart is sad, the spirit is broken. The mind of the intelligent seeks knowledge, but the mouth of fools feeds on folly. All the days of the afflicted are bad, but a cheerful heart has a continual feast. Better is a little with the fear of the Lord than great treasure and turmoil with it. Better is a dish of vegetables where love is than a fattened ox served with hatred. A hot-tempered man stirs up strife, but the slow to anger calms a dispute. The way of the lazy is a hedge of thorns, but the path of the upright is a highway. A wise son makes a father glad, but a foolish man despises his mother. Folly is joy to him who lacks sense, but a man of understanding walks straight. Without consultation, plans are frustrated, but with many counselors they succeed. A man has joy in an apt answer, and how delightful is a timely word. The path of life leads upward for the wise, that he may keep away from Sheol below. The Lord will tear down the house of the proud, but he will establish the boundary of the widow. Evil plans are an abomination to the Lord, but pleasant words are pure. He who profits illicitly troubles his own house, but he who hates bribes will live. The hearts of the righteous ponders how to answer, but the mouth of the wicked pours out evil things. The Lord is far from the wicked, but he hears the prayer of the righteous. Bright eyes gladden the heart. Good news puts fat on the bones. He whose ear listens to the life-giving reproof will dwell among the wise. He who neglects discipline despises himself, but he who listens to reproof acquires understanding. The fear of the Lord is the instruction for wisdom, and before honor comes humility. Proverbs chapter 15. Thoughts? Initial thoughts? Here. What stands out to y'all initially as we read that passage?
This is one of those ones where it was like kind of all over the place, to me at least, because it's still doing the comparing and contrasting. So there's a few phrases that I wasn't getting, like his comparisons or analogies. So one of the ones that like I noticed, death and destruction lie open before the Lord. How much more do human hearts? So is he implying that like because when you would think about what's in his heart, right, you wouldn't think of death or destruction, but it says it lies open before the Lord.
Yeah, Sheol and Abaddon lie open before the Lord. How much more the hearts of men? I think it's more about submission. How even Sheol, which I believe is another word for Hades or hell, and Abaddon, which what does it say in your translation?
I'm using the Bible app, but it says death and destruction lie open before the Lord.
See, I think it's the fact that even they submit to God. So how much so the heart of man, like you cannot as a man not eventually submit to the Lord whenever death, destruction, and the devil, everything submits to God. You know what I'm saying? You can't run away from that submission. And I think for me at least, I like to look in the passage before and the passage after just to build a wall of context. So I guess just for practice, we'll read 10, 11, and 12. It says, grievous punishment is for him who forsakes the way. He who hates reproof will die. Sheol and Abaddon lie open before the Lord. How much more the hearts of men? A scoffer does not love one who reproves him. He will not go to the wise. So reading those three together, it's kind of describing the punishment that lies before someone who forsakes the way, like with wisdom, who hates reproof, who doesn't like being disciplined, who doesn't listen to wise correction, right? That's building the context around what this scripture is saying. So that's what I would say.
So for it being 15, right, I feel at this point it's gotten kind of a little bit repetitive just because in previous chapters it's done a lot of comparing and contrasting, and you kind of get to the point where it's like, yes, like I understand a fool is going to disobey, but like what was a one that I just saw? A happy heart makes the face cheerful, but heartache crushes the spirit. It goes back to that comparing and contrasting. That first one you read, stern discipline awaits anyone who leaves the path, but the one who hates correction will die. Another one. I saw one about a wise son brings joy to his father, but a foolish man despises his mother. That was verse 20. And a wise son submitting to God, reading the Bible, using the word, not following the worldly desires. But a foolish man despises his mother. I would kind of stick that the other way. The mother would despise his. Well, I mean, I can see that because if you're choosing to do bad things, you're not gonna love your mother. Your mother wouldn't want to see you like that. So it's like, well, if I'm doing all of these sins, and not even my own mother can stop me, then who is she to me? So I'm kind of the vibe where it's as we move forward. I thought it would be doing more stories, but it's going back to the comparison. So is it kind of trying to reiterate, like, hey, don't forget what I was saying,
I
despite
think
all those stories?
I think there's a lot of ways to say things that could people can interpret them differently. Maybe one thing sticks out to somebody else, but I think it's why just say it once, right? One time, and I think people, mind you, everyone had access to this when Jesus was alive, and yet people still doubted, and yet people were still fools. People are still fools to this day, and this book has been available for over 2,000 years, and yet people don't want to read it. So I think it reiterating it over and over and over, it's probably important to pay attention to, right? Whereas opposed to if it just said it one time and you can easily forget it, but it's trying to teach you something. It's trying to teach us a lesson. This whole book is a collective book of wisdom, and it's giving us the keys and the tools to the knowledge and wisdom that we're seeking. And so, if it sounds repetitive, I guarantee you it's intentional because it's trying to hammer this into our mind. Now it's like we're seeing it and we're like, well, yeah, we know that. Well, how do we even know that in the first place? Because it said it.
And
It said it a long time ago, and they keep saying it. It keeps saying it. It keeps bringing it up. It's like us in our day-to-day lives where we just keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over. Why? Because it gets results. Because it works. And this is just hammering it into us. It's like you're never gonna not tell your kid to, like, hey, be respectful. Hey, be respectful. You're always gonna tell your kid to be respectful. You're always gonna, try to tell yourself to treat people right. You don't have to say it to yourself every day, but you do anyways, or you say it often because you want to hammer it into their skulls. Because guess what? We're dumb. We don't listen. We do what we want, and we fail. We sin every day. Yet we know all these things, right? But how many times do we not go with God's word? How many times have you since we started reading the Bible? Oh shoot, I messed up there. I did that. Oops, my bad. How many times, right?
Right.
And you have to reference. Well, shoot, I remember in Proverbs it says this.
That helps a
And it
lot,
says
being
it
able to
again
reference.
and again and again because it's trying to hammer it into your skull because we have thick heads and we're prideful and we're stubborn. But I think pride is one thing that this actually mentions. One thing that stood out to me. Where did it say it? It said, "The Lord will tear down the house of the proud." And I always was told as a kid, pride comes before the fall, right? Just whenever you're getting on top of your high horse, life will knock you down. And I think right here, the Lord will tear down the house of the proud. And then at the very end, it says, and before honor comes humility. Like, it's something that we've also mentioned before, where you bring yourself down to pick up the crown instead of having it just bestowed upon you. You, as the man of the house, as the one that's going to be the driving force, the leader of your household, you have to see that as a responsibility that you earn, but you continue to earn as you get it. You don't just earn it once and then now you're gonna, okay, now I'm gonna do nothing. I built all this XP, I've worked all these hours, okay, I made $1 million, I can stop working now. That's not how it works. You earn it, and then you got to continue to earn it every single day. It's kind of like a starting spot on the baseball field, right? Where you're the starting catcher. Oh, I'm the starting catcher now. I don't got to practice no more, right? That's not how it works. You got to show up every day and continue to earn it every single day and become undeniable. But it takes knowing the fact that you're not good enough how you are, that you have to continue to keep earning it, because that's just how life's going to challenge you. People are working the same way as you are, or they're working harder than you. And so you have to continue to work and continue to build yourself as a man so that you don't fall behind. You don't allow life to catch up to you and beat you down, or at least when it does, you submit. You're able to overcome whatever life throws at you next. So I think when it comes to pride, putting aside your pride, which we talk about all the time, especially when it comes to relationships, especially when it comes to whenever we've been offended by somebody, putting apart our pride and humbling ourselves so that we can actually, be more receptive and be more productive. Because pride is more times than not an obstacle, at least in my experience.
Yeah, I've been very prideful before too. So the difference between Proverbs and Matthew, where Matthew is doing more stories, more storytelling, more parables, more experiences from other people. This one, if someone were to just like randomly open to a random chapter in Proverbs, they could pick out any one of these sentences, and one might resonate with them with
Yeah.
the comparison and contrasting.
Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John are known as the Gospels. They're called the Gospels because gospel just means good news. And the good news is the life of Jesus, the death and the resurrection of Jesus, so that we might be saved through him. So Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John are 4 different accounts of Jesus' life. Proverbs is a book that was written by King Solomon that's just straight wisdom. That's all it is. So you can pick up and open to any chapter of Proverbs in any given day and read a chapter or read a few verses and probably get something pretty productive out of it that you can apply to your life immediately. But whenever you're reading the life of Jesus, it's literally a story. It's telling us, and then he uses his parables and his teachings so that we can, see how Jesus lived, and we can use that in our lives as well. So, but that's how the Gospels are structured, and that's the difference between them and a book like Proverbs or something like that.
Yeah, because I was kind of thinking, well, if I never knew what Proverbs was about, or never read it, and I didn't know it was a Bible verse, like if I just seen, um, I literally just read it. Mm, I'll use your example, or I can use this one. The greedy bring ruin to their households, but the one who hates bribes will live. So if I didn't know that was a Bible verse, and I just saw that like in a quote or a phrase somewhere, it would be similar of just like opening the Bible in Proverbs and just seeing a
Yeah,
list of quotes
you could see lists of quotes from like other type of philosophers or something like that, or other religions that have, wise teachings in whatever text that they have. But yeah, essentially, you can have any of
Mhm.
these quoted, and you don't even have to be a believer, and you can still say, yeah, it's
That's
probably
pretty wise.
that's pretty
Yeah.
wise. Yeah, I'm saying you don't even have to be a believer to know for a fact that Proverbs
Yeah,
is
like I'm
speaking
sure
wisdom.
if a lot of non-believers, if you were to take any one of these quotes or phrases and just throw it in front of them, no context, they'd be like, "Hey, that's pretty good. Who said that? Jesus." Like they
Yeah.
would be like, "Whoa, what?" Yeah.
Yeah. But I think another thing that I really liked right here is Proverbs chapter 16 through 17. Better is a little with the fear of the Lord than great treasure and turmoil with it. Better is a dish of vegetables where love is than a fattened ox served with hatred. I just want to hear y'all's thoughts on that.
That makes me think of, I don't know where I heard it or where I seen it. I think we've talked about it before. Maybe it's a Bible verse or something like that. But they're talking about how, I guess, getting into heaven, or who would get into heaven, where it's, how's it go? It's like for the people that are just simply unknowing of God, like they have a chance of getting into heaven. But for the people that know him and deny him, there's like no way in hell, you know?
Yeah.
And then for the people that do know him and do have like a little bit of like curiosity towards him, like they have a chance as well. It makes me think of that. And I don't know exactly where, I think it's a Bible verse. I don't know. Maybe we've talked about it before, but I can't remember. I was literally just looking over that and trying to think of it for the past 10 minutes. I was just like, where'd I see it? But that's what it makes me think of. And I think that exactly literally how it states, it's better to have a little fear of the Lord than to just completely turn away from him, in my opinion. And then a better small serving of vegetables with love. And I literally think of a small plate of vegetables. I'm like, damn. But it was made with mama's love, you know.
Yeah.
It was like, damn, I really appreciate it. Thanks, mom. And
These are going to be the best vegetables I've ever had in my life.
compared to like receiving exactly how it says, a flattened calf from someone that just hates you and despises you. You're just like, damn, like you're so unsure if you should eat it. You're unsure if it's like, damn, is it tampered with? You know, I don't know. It just makes me think of that. So
I think it could also be like maybe not necessarily food, but let's say maybe your mother's or something like that, your father doesn't have a lot to give you for Christmas.
yeah, exactly.
Right. Then all they able to give you is
Yeah.
like a little gift card or something like
It's
that.
so much more meaningful.
Yeah, or they write you a letter or something, as opposed to someone just trying to buy your obedience by giving you a brand new car for Christmas, even though they don't truly love you, they just want what you have.
Yeah. And I think that just makes it so much more meaningful when it does have love behind it, even if it's for example a small gift. Like it's just a little detail. And I don't know, based off my experience, when someone does give me a gift in general, and it doesn't even matter to me, it's just like a gift, I'm like, oh,
They the thought,
it's so much more
Yeah.
the
meaningful.
thought that
Yeah.
you crossed their mind at some point in the day is just enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bro, I remember this. I think it was last Christmas or 2 Christmases ago. All right, my dumb self forgot that we made a Christmas wish list. All right,
This was last year.
it was like last year or 2 years ago. I don't remember, but we were doing like a Secret Santa, and I completely forgot that we made a wish list saying, "Hey, these are a few things like we would like, right?" And one of those things was a backpack. I was like, man, I really need a backpack. Really need a backpack. I got my laptop. I got my books. Got to travel around and take this, right? I'm a entrepreneur or whatever. And that day that came that we did our Secret Santa and I received a backpack. It was, bro, I was the happiest. I was the happiest man alive, bro. I was like, how'd you know?
Yeah, I bet that was.
Completely forgot, but I mean, it's like little details like that make it so much more meaningful. And maybe that the lady that gave it to me had no type of love behind it, but I don't know. I
That
thought
was
it
it,
was, and I was
yeah.
just so happy. So
She didn't hate you, so
yeah,
I mean, she don't hate you, then
appreciate
Yeah, it's like that transition for whenever you start getting older and you're like,
that.
some socks and underwear.
some socks
yeah,
would be
dog.
nice.
Like for example, I got these socks for Christmas and the underwear that I'm
They
wearing.
look like some good socks.
yeah, it's
dog.
like you go from
got
just
the
wanting
socks.
toys or video games or whatever to like, dang, I could actually use some new clothes, jacket, sweats,
All my
pants,
underwear have
shoes.
holes. My socks have holes, and they're all old. They're not supposed to be brown. They're supposed to be white.
Bro, if I've been wearing the same clothes for, I'm telling you, I've been living below my means for
Yeah,
years.
but that's a good thing though. That's a good
It
thing. You
says
don't
right
need-
here, bro. Better is a little with the fear of the Lord.
God bless.
Right. And that's where I was going with it too. You kind of said what I was gonna say there at the end. Better a little with the fear of the Lord than great wealth with turmoil.
Mm-hmm.
Not like how we're doing, living below our means. Don't have all the cars in the world, still paying rent, still living humbly.
Blessed.
But we have fear of the Lord, and that's more wealthy than having everything we could have ever wanted and not knowing God,
Yeah.
right? And then we move on to the next one. Better a small serving of vegetables with love than a fat calf with hatred. I feel like that one's obvious. It's better to get, like, even if all you have to eat, you have a little bit, but you have your wife. She made you vegetables, maybe gave you the bigger piece of chicken, waited till you got home to eat. And it's not no 5-course meal, but just the thought of getting the bigger piece of food, having them wait for you, hey, like, it's not much, but something compared to having this, 5-star 3-course meal, but they hate you. Like in Squid Games, they provided that big old meal at the end. I don't know if you ever seen it. Sorry, I probably just spoiled it, but
Oh,
they have a big old meal. But what's the point of it? There's no happiness, there's no love. It's all over greed and money and for entertainment. But they provided them this big old feast.
This makes me think of what I always say. I'm like, y'all better pray that I don't win, right? The reason why, I don't know. How I see it, I'm like, I'm already winning. I'm already winning, and I haven't even achieved what I'm going to achieve yet. I've already won. I already have the aura, the XP, I'm at the level I'm at. I'm a formidable foe as is, and I haven't even won yet. And when it says, better a little with the fear of the Lord than great wealth with the turmoil, I think of it as I'm already wealthy. I'm already winning. And like what do I have?
It kind of ties back into the passage right before that in 15. All the days of the afflicted are bad, but a cheerful heart has a continual feast.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I've seen it. Like, I've been at a point in my life where I was miserable every single day, depressed, hated my life, didn't like myself. And every day was just another day reminding me of how I was a failure, right? But it was because I wasn't approaching life with gratitude. I was looking at everything that I didn't have, the man that I wasn't, and all of my shortcomings. And I wasn't doing anything productive with my life at all. Like, nothing. I was directionless, aimless, far from God, rejected God, and pushed away a lot of people in my life, right? But as soon as I started to make that switch, as soon as I started to allow myself to grow closer to God, to start developing as a man and start growing in confidence and being willing to try things and put myself out there, whenever I started to, hit that upwards trajectory, and I started to feel this genuine joy, what they call the joy of the Lord, right? Where I'm just like, every single day, maybe it's not the best day ever, right? But I'm healthy. I have an opportunity to go out there and chase my dreams, my family. Maybe we're not on the best terms, right? But we're all alive, and while we're all alive, there's always an opportunity to fix things. My parents are healthy, and like I have so many. There's a laundry list of things that I can go down and be grateful for. And now, when I start approaching life like that, every day, it's not really that. It could never be that bad, because there's nothing in my life that's going on right now that I could look at and really say, no, this is terrible, right? Now I'm just more, how it says, cheerful. Every day is like a brand new adventure. Every day is like, all right, time to go out here and gain XP. It's an opportunity, as opposed to it being another day that was just wasted, another day that I didn't use and that I regressed. And now every day is an opportunity to progress. And so now it's like this. I feel this sense of gratitude every day. Like, I was talking to a I could say he's a peer of mine in the real estate business. And mind you, when I say he's a peer, he's a lot older than me. A lot older than me. He's nowhere near my age. But I was just talking to him, and I was like, man, one of the main things, one of the biggest lessons I've had to learn is just patience. Like, just letting time have time, right? And not overestimating what I can accomplish in a year or two, but being looking forward to everything that I will accomplish in 1 decade or 2 decades, and just being grateful for what I have now and for the growth that I'm having now. Like, and I kind of pointed to one thing that Raul's mentioned before, with Alex Ramosi. It's like there's three different periods, or there's three different things that happen whenever you, or no, three different stages. I forgot exactly how you put it, but three different stages of being an entrepreneur. It's like either you grow, your business grows, or you quit. And so for the past, year and a half that I've been doing real estate, I felt like the most amount of growth has happened in my life as a person. I'm growing as a man, and my real estate business is starting to pick up, but I feel like what I'm most grateful for over this past year and a half, despite all of the struggles, despite all of the lessons I've had to learn, I'm grateful because that's helped me grow into the man that I am currently. And so it's like that, like how we've mentioned that gratitude. And even whenever I am going through certain struggles, which, there are things that I only share with y'all, that only y'all know about me in my personal life, and, vice versa. There's things that we only share with one another. But at the same time, I'm still Derek. Like, I'm still going out there. I'm still smiling. I'm still laughing. I'm still joking. I'm still being who I am. And that comes with having a cheerful heart. And I think that's a testament to what this says about having a continual feast, where every single day, man, I'm not sad, I'm not depressed, and that in and of itself is enough to be grateful. Like, having my health is enough to be grateful. Having my parents and my parents' health, that's enough for me to say, you know what, this is a great day. You know.
All that growth and kind of touch base with you said like a few years ago we were all directionless and nameless, thinking our life was over when it was really just beginning. Like I'm like, dang, we're 24, right? But we've done a lot because we didn't have everything handed to us on a silver platter. Everything we have now, we've all worked for. So you're thinking your life's over at 19, 20 years old because you're still at home, whatever. Because society tells you need to be out. When at 24, you're doing a lot better compared to like most people we left behind or cut out or whatever, or even some 30, 40-year-old adults still don't even figure this out yet until it's too late. And here we are at 24 figuring it out and thinking our life was over at 19. And some people don't even figure this out until their deathbed. So I feel like we got a pretty good time frame to make progress and grow and keep on going on because like you mentioned, it's all about being positive and grateful. uh like people would have even noticed if they saw me like within the past few months too. I've had situations where I didn't have hot water, and then when I was at home for the break, I don't mean to expose my mom like that, but we didn't have running water, so we had to do the old school method of like in the tub get a bucket and just we had to do that, and nobody would have known. So it just
brings back good old memories.
so it just makes like this was recent. This was over the winter break, right? Because her pipes got clogged, whatever. She was too holidays. We were too busy. We were never home anyways. So when we showered, we just did that old school method, right? Made me even more grateful for when I went to a building with actual running hot water. Like, dang, this is the life, right? Don't have to scrub
Feels
with the
good.
bucket no more.
Yeah.
It's not cold. I'm not freezing. Get to actually, I actually get to shower, hot water. Something as simple as that made
That's
me so
crazy,
happy.
bro. You just unlocked memories. That's
Hey,
crazy.
Your boy Zach shouted you out.
Yo, what up, Zach?
Go to LMAO. What's going on, brother?
I
But
think
it made me feel so much grateful, and that goes back to seeing like, being it with an open heart.
I completely agree with it with everything. I think it's natural for us to fall short. I think some days we are down, some days we get angry, some days we come short to
Our expectations and
realize
standards.
that hey, we are doing good. We are where we're at. And I think that's just natural, and I think this serves as a good reminder.
Riri's here as well.
Riri, what's
It's been a
good,
minute.
girl?
It's going
What's going on,
good.
Riri?
And I don't know. I think I'm still just getting started. I started when I was 19, 20, my
20?
journey.
I think 20.
Yeah, 20 is a good age. Yeah, 20. I think so.
Yeah, that's whenever you moved.
I started a little before that. Yeah, and so 19 going into 20, yeah. And technically that's the start, but I don't know. Even at 24, I think I'm just getting started, and I know I can spill my knowledge, speak from a position of being ahead or whatever, but
Being an elite. 1%.
yeah, being
top
from
1%.
I know I can speak that way, but I don't know. I just say what I say, and if I have knowledge, maybe you can acquire something from it, but at the end of the day, I think I'm still just trying to figure it out. I'm still just getting started, and I just put my head down, and I don't know, it's gotten me.
Just keep going.
Yeah, it's gotten to me where it's gotten me, and I think the best way to lead is by example, and I think that we're doing that by doing this, and I
Man,
think
it'd
that's
just be crazy to show our kids or whatever one day.
that's
and
why I
be
don't
like,
I don't want to
"Man,
tell my story
Look
yet,
at all this, look at this book of proverbs we made ourselves.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I don't want to tell my story yet. My story's not finished, so just give us
It's
time.
barely getting started. It's like you
Really
said,
getting
bro.
started. It's crazy.
Give us
Barely
time,
getting
and
started.
maybe
There's gonna be so much testimony, so much of a story to tell. You might have to write a book or make a documentary because it's like, man.
I eventually want to have like my own. I think of Alex Ramosi, what's his name? Chris Williamson. Yeah, I think them. They have like their own personal pods, and it's like a self journey. Like they just spill all their knowledge, all their journey into YouTube videos and
But I think that
and
also
podcasts.
stems from personal stories that they have to tell.
Exactly.
And I think that's where we're still. That's what we lack.
Yeah.
It's just
Stories.
We still, which mind you, we still have
Just
plenty
gotta
of stories to tell.
Got to give time.
But yeah, we got to give time
Yeah.
for those stories to naturally occur.
Yeah.
We're not making where it's not like, oh my gosh, we're dealing with like $10,000 worth of issues. Now it's like, oh, we're dealing with $10 million issues. You know?
And as of right now, you know, my journal, my diary keeps all my secrets, and I look forward to one day being able to, exactly kind of how you mentioned, allowing my kids to hear the story of their great Raul Crowd Jr. You know,
Great grandpa,
yeah,
great grandpapa.
like, I
And
look
their-
forward to and them
Their
finding.
great uncle.
Hey yo, yeah, like that'd be cool. Is that not cool? Like, hey, they're looking through the closets or just the storage room. They're like, hey yo, what the fuck is this book? What? It's all dusty and stuff, and they're like, start reading it, and the next king up is coming up, and he's just like,
No. Imagine this.
What the
Imagine
heck?
this right now. Imagine we're gone, right? And your great grandchild is watching back because this video's on the internet forever.
yeah.
So be
Imagine he's
careful.
watching. Imagine he's watching back right now. Your great grandchild. What do you say to your great grandchild right now? Who's watching you?
It's a good question. Give me a sec.
It's pretty crazy to think about. It kind of gives me the idea of what Mr. Beast did. Hi me in 5 years. But this is gonna be like
This
hi
is-
me in.
Not even. It says hi, grandchild. This is like after I'm gone.
Yeah, this is like hi me in 40 years, not 5.
I think of my great whatever child. I'm long gone forever right now. I'm dead already. I think if you're, I don't want to say intelligent, but if you're seeking and end up finding this, that means you're onto something. And whatever that thing is, figure it out. Figure out what you want. And do so much work that it is undeniable that you achieve it.
Okay,
That's
okay.
what I would tell them.
I kind of got me thinking now. We're doing like a little, I don't know.
That was
Like,
good,
class-
right? That was
good.
good.
We're doing
yeah.
a little. We're doing a class
Yeah.
worksheet group project.
Yeah,
If you could, because now I kind of thought like, what would you tell your younger self? Like, what would you
No,
tell?
I'm talking
Damn,
about
that's a
telling. I'm
good
talking about
question.
telling your great
Because
grandchild
Yeah.
I feel like
who's watching this right now.
because he's doing something
no, yeah,
right.
yeah.
If he's watching the number one podcast in the world, you
Subscribe
know
if you
what
haven't
I'm
already.
saying?
I,
250
He's
subscribers.
doing something right.
I get that, right? But it's like if you're telling your great grandchild who's new and fresh into this world, not knowing anything, it'd be very similar of what would you want to tell yourself. Something that you wish you knew. So you're gonna wish your great grandchild knows.
Yeah.
Right. So then you can kind of like, well, there's a lot I could say or will say, and we have said, but if you could dial it down to one sentence or maybe even one word, what would it be?
Faith.
Faith?
To us, like to
Just
our
in
younger
general,
self,
yeah, it's just-
or to the grandchild that
either
was-
one. I feel like it's the same.
was seeking. Okay.
I feel like
Yeah, I
Either
think,
your
I,
youngest
think I said
grandchild
I
or
said
I would
that
say
and have faith.
I would say
Yeah.
faith.
Just
I would say God is number one. With God by your side, you can't lose. But if you don't know God, then He can't be by your side. Like I think at some point, God is standing there waiting for you with open arms. But the longer you reject Him, the longer you're gonna extend your suffering. The closer you get to God, the closer you will get to the life that you always wanted.
that's good. And then kind of like I'm brainstorming all these ideas. My mind's just always working nonstop. All these ideas. If I even write a book, even if it's not professional and published and all that, the last word in the book would just be faith. That'd be kind of crazy, right? Like, whoa,
Have faith.
just faith. The last word in the book. They read this whole timeline of from when I was born, growing up, meeting all y'all, when I fell from the stork in the sky, to 60 years later and under the ground.
60 years. That's it.
Yeah, I don't see myself living
God.
to that old. I don't
Isn't,
know
like,
if
the
I.
average life like around
It's
70
in
or
the
something.
70s. Yeah, it's like.
I thought it
75.
was 60s.
No,
I think it's around
I thought-
70.
I swear it's going
that
down.
Was like the Industrial Revolution.
been going
It's going
down.
up. No, it's
going
been
up?
going up.
Well, it's went down from like what it used to be.
Is that big?
I don't know, it's a
That's a
little-
that's a
Life
topic for
expectancy's
another.
going
That's a topic for another day. Because now I'm curious on that.
No, like from way back then, we used to be like up there, and then we went down. But I don't know about now. Are we going up?
What do you mean by when? By back then?
Like before us, we used to be healthier. We used to live longer.
No,
Well, then you can kind of.
because if you're talking about the 40s, if you're talking about the 40s
No, I think
or way
before
back,
that probably. Yeah, I don't know how long ago.
Well,
but
because
I think we used
if you're
to live
thinking like
longer.
back then with like, see now we're on a tangent, right? Just wrap it up real quick.
Alright,
If you're
man,
thinking,
yeah.
if you're thinking, no, I don't want to get
What's
this
the
idea
whole
real
point of this
quick.
conversation right now? We're literally talking about what are you telling your grandchild?
Yeah.
That's literally what we're
Then we
doing.
went to
That's
life
what- then we went
expectancy.
life expectancy. But no,
Goodness.
because I just want to say real quick though that like you think it was really high in back then, right? But back then, if you had a headache, they drilled a hole in your head. Now, if you had a headache, you take some Tylenol. But then also at the same time, if you took Tylenol back then, you'd probably die. So I don't know. There's a weird relationship between all that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What's your message to your grandchild, sir?
I know what's your
It's
message.
a
to
great,
your
Great child. Yeah.
Just, I don't know. I didn't know that.
Oh
I didn't know that I was doing that.
Bro,
My mind is too
Bro,
freaking crazy
we
to
were
just like.
we were just. That's literally
it's
what
a
we
good
boiled it
question
down.
though.
Yeah.
It's a really good question.
Because I don't want to be basic and copy Derek and say faith, but I also don't want to do a whole long drawn out
It's
speech.
like, abandon your day ones.
Forget where you came from.
Forget where you came from.
Soon as the
abandon
money's
your
up,
day ones.
leave. Change your name.
Yeah.
They don't care. They don't love you. They don't love you like I do.
Hopefully, you have a great, like, I don't know, huge painting of me just sitting there watching you just like this.
An
You know what
oil
I'm saying?
painting.
In oil,
So
yeah,
how
yeah.
do we wrap all this back until what?
in the corral manner.
How do we wrap this all back to what we were talking about?
Well,
Because we still got to go to Matthew.
yeah. We were talking about,
See,
Well,
I
'cause-
knew we were gonna be.
bro. We were talking.
I called this beforehand, bro.
What?
I was like, man, low key, I feel like fucking up on this fucking.
You
I feel
called
like
it.
fucking up.
You put it
No,
in.
no.
You put it
I
out
was
there.
I was talking about time at first because I was talking about how like yeah I was talking about time.
I mean, we're pretty on topic. It's
Yeah,
just
we're on
kinda
time.
going
But
like this
when you
right
bring
now.
a topic about time is just so complicated. You can
No, but because
go anywhere with that.
No. I had it because which one did we read? Oh, I was talking about whenever was it the cheerful heart or whatever
Yes.
about how whenever I went from being a depressed, aimless guy towards
Oh, and then
becoming
I said that
cheerful, and
story
how
that
I've
brought
started
back
to transition.
memories.
That's how I started to transition.
Yeah, and then you
towards
started
this.
talking about
And then you
the.
started talking about whatever, and then
No, I started talking about the
shower.
memories
Yeah.
because that's going back to looking at things and being grateful every day,
yeah,
not being
then-
negative. And then from there, I don't know how we went to life expectancy.
And then I led to
you started talking about something, right?
talking about like how I
Give
can't
someone
necessarily
water.
spill. I can't necessarily give
talk your
all
story because your story
knowledge.
hasn't
Yeah,
been
it's not
laid out.
finished.
It's
Like
not finished.
it's
yet.
just getting started.
But then I just started thinking about what's like, what if your grandchild is watching this?
Yeah. Okay.
And then
so-
it's like, and then we went to life expectancy. Well, I'm not going to be alive in that long.
I
So it all
think until
connected
60.
somehow.
Okay.
Damn, when are you
60's
gonna
crazy,
die
bro.
of, bro?
Damn,
Shit.
bro.
Yeah, I'm gonna kill him,
Uh-uh.
man. I'm gonna fuck him up.
Something.
Me and Jerome are gonna be old man fighting, bro. I'm gonna knock him out. Just
Bro, we won't
and
even.
he's done.
We'll probably just throw half a punch and get tired.
Breaking arm.
All right, but as you said, we need to move on to Matthew.
Okay.
Good thing
Where
is
we at?
that we only have a little bit of Matthew.
Where we at?
Because we didn't finish it from last
Chapter
time.
12,
So
38. Yeah, we only have what is that? 12 verses. That's it. We only have 12 verses to read through. So plenty. If you haven't already, subscribe.
they
because-
probably enjoyed that conversation, anyways. Because, like I said, this podcast and the last podcast and the one before that gotten quite a bit of interaction, more comments than we like usually would get.
Mhm.
So definitely on the right path.
Whoa. One of y'all can read this.
I'll read this one at 38
38.
to
yeah.
the end. Okay.
Matthew chapter 12, verse 38 for those who are watching.
The sign of Jonah. Then some of the Pharisees and teachers of the law said to him, Teacher, we want to see a sign from you. He answered, A wicked and adulterous generation asks for a sign, but none will be given it except the sign of the prophet Jonah. For as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of a huge fish, so the Son of Man will be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. The men of Nineveh will stand up at the judgment with this generation and condemn it, for they repented at the preaching of Jonah. And now something greater than Jonah is here. The queen of the south will rise at the judgment with this generation and condemn it, for she came from the ends of the earth to listen to Solomon's wisdom, and now something greater than Solomon is here. When an impure spirit comes out of a person, it goes through arid places seeking rest and does not find it. Then it says, I will return to the house I left. When it arrives, it finds the house unoccupied, swept clean, and put in order. Then it goes and takes with it 7 other spirits more wicked than itself, and they go in and live there. And the final condition of that person is worse than the first. That is how it will be with this wicked generation. Jesus' mother and brothers. While Jesus was still talking to the crowd, his mother and brothers stood outside, wanting to speak to him. Someone told him, "Your mother and brothers are standing outside, wanting to speak to you." He replied to him, Who is my mother and who are my brothers?" Pointing to his disciples, he said, "Here are my mother and my brothers. For whoever does the will of my Father in heaven is my brother and sister and mother."
Alright.
Matthew chapter 12.
Chapter 30, or chapter 12, verse 38 through 50. Now, okay, I think going back over what's going on here, setting the scene for the people that are watching or listening. It starts off by mentioning that the Pharisees are challenging Jesus yet again, pretty much asking him to be like a what are they called? Like a monkey? What is it, like dance monkey dance? They're pretty much telling him, "Hey, do a miracle."
A jester?
Like a they're like kind of like a jester, but more so they want him to prove that he is who he says he is. Despite all the miracles that he's done before, they want him to do something else.
Just more and more and
And
more.
Jesus replies, "An evil and adulterous generation craves for a sign, and yet no sign will be given to it, but the sign of Jonah the prophet." Now, if you don't know the story of Jonah and the whale, do you know the story of Jonah and the whale?
See, I don't know specifically. I just know that he was in the mouth of a whale for 3 days.
Yeah, okay. So Jonah was a prophet that was called to go to Nineveh, but he didn't want to go. He outright told God, "No, so I'm going to go my own way." And so he was trying to go his own way. And as he was trying to leave and go the opposite direction to Nineveh, he fell into the ocean and got swallowed up by a whale or a big fish, right? And the big fish, well, he was in there for 3 days and 3 nights. And the next thing you know, the whale pops up where? In Nineveh, where God had called him. And so he took that as a sign. It's like, you know what? Okay, I'm going to stop running from God and I'm going to do what God says. And Nineveh was a very it was like Sodom and Gomorrah, very sinful town, a very sinful city that needed to be saved. And Jonah was the prophet that God had designated to go save that city. And sure enough, Jonah went and prophesied, and the city was able to get saved. And so he's referencing Jonah being in the belly of the sea monster, right? For 3 days. And he's saying, watch out for that miracle. I'm going to do the same thing Jonah did. And what did Jesus do? He got crucified and died. And he went to the center of the earth, or hell, whatever, stole the keys of life, but he was gone for 3 days. And then he came back. Similar, very parallel to what Jonah did. Jonah, he disappeared for 3 days, and then he came back. And so he's pretty much telling them to wait for my sign. Like, wait and be patient, because he's already been doing miracles this whole time. But the miracle that's to come is the one that y'all need to be paying attention to. It doesn't matter so much so that I do a miracle right now, as long as y'all are waiting and paying attention so that y'all don't miss the miracle that I'm about to do. And so that's what he's talking about. And then it kind of transitions right here. The queen of the south will rise up with this generation at the judgment and will condemn it, because she came from the ends of the earth to hear the wisdom of Solomon. Funny enough, that's what we're reading right now, is the wisdom of Solomon. And behold, something greater than Solomon is here. He's talking to himself, right? As the source of wisdom. And then he transitions to talking about demons being cast out, or evil spirits, unclean spirits. And I think it's a warning, right? Because he says that whenever he casts out an evil spirit, an unclean spirit, it goes away, and when it returns, it can't not enter again, because he's been cleaned. So what does he do? He goes and gets reinforcements. He gets 7 other demons, 7 other spirits more wicked than itself, so that it can come back, and it'll be even worse for the person who was possessed before. And he says that is the way that it will be with this evil generation. And so the first part, he's saying that these evil and adulterous generation are craving a sign. They want him to be a miracle monkey, whatever. But yet they need to be paying attention to the prophet Jonah, and for that prophecy to come through once again, but it's going to be Jesus this time, going away for 3 days, resurrecting. And so that's what it's going to be this time. And he's telling them that they need to be paying attention to that.
So if you were to like equate it to time today, because Easter is coming up in what, April or March?
Yeah. Mhm.
That's when the miracle happens. Could you say that Jonah was like back then, currently, what's the word? Prophesizing now, like at this time. Like if you were to, like if Jonah were alive today, he'd be prophesizing now because what's gonna happen in 2-3 months.
Well,
Or is this-
mind you, this was the Old Testament. Jonah was in the Old Testament.
Hmm.
So this was probably hundreds of years before Jesus was alive.
Oh, really? So he probably seemed even more crazy than Jesus.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So here's two things that I get from it. Because I think Jonah's a pretty there's two different messages that I get. And one from Jonah is you can't run away from God's calling in your life. Because Jonah did not want to be a prophet and go to Nineveh and deliver that city. He didn't want to. He tried to run away, but God sent this absolute miracle, whatever you want to call it, to swallow up this man, the sea monster, and take him to where he needed to be. Not where he wanted to be, where he needed to be. And then Jonah accepted it, and then he was able to fulfill what God's plan for his life was. But he kept on running from it. He tried to avoid it at all costs. I take that as much as I've tried to run away in my life from God's calling, I've found myself back to where I knew I was always going to be. Especially now where we're standing at this with this podcast, right? But I know that's me accepting that's my moment of being Jonah. Is trying to go the opposite direction, but yet this was always tugging at my heart, right? Like we were living that life that we shouldn't have been living, but we always knew that this wasn't forever. That we weren't doing the right thing. In our heart of hearts, we knew that we were in the wrong. But now we're finally accepting and embracing what God's message is in our life. And now we're starting to see prosperity come from it. Whereas before, we were stuck in an undesirable position. But now we're starting to see the other side of that. And then what I get from this, in this passage, whenever Jesus is using it, I'm seeing this as we expect Jesus to perform certain miracles or certain things that whenever we want him to do it. Jesus, we want this miracle now. Dance, monkey, dance. I want $1 million right now, right? And yet Jesus is saying, no, you need to be patient. The time will come whenever I'm going to fulfill this. And if you're over here, if you're not paying attention, if you're over here trying to force something to happen when it's not ready to, you're going to miss the blessing. You're going to miss the good news. What's the good news? Jesus resurrected from the dead, stole the keys of death from hell, and now we have an opportunity to go to heaven through Jesus. But I think it's being patient and not trying to expect expect Jesus to fulfill all of our desires and expect all these miracles to happen all at once, which is something that we've had to learn intimately, is it's on God's timing. And instead of expecting him to do things at our call, now we're just allowing him to do his own work on his time. And whenever it's his time, that's the right time. Our time, more times than not, it's not the right time. If I had $1 million whenever I was 19, 20 years old, I probably would have used it in the very wrong way, right? But whenever God decides to bless me, whenever Jesus is timing, whenever he decides that it's time for him to bless and do this miracle in my life, that's whenever it's going to be the most impactful moment. And I'm going to be able to use that for good. So that's how I take those two teachings and two stories and
Okay.
apply
I
them.
have a few short answer questions. They relate to the thing, but they're not exactly about the story. So you said we're reading Solomon's wisdom. I thought this was okay. So let me rephrase that. This is Jesus talking, but it's Solomon writing what he heard.
No,
No, it's Matthew.
Matthew.
It's
So
Matthew.
what did you mean by Solomon's wisdom?
wisdoms is Proverbs.
Solomon is Proverbs.
So that's what. Okay. Then that brings me to who's the queen of the south seeking Proverbs.
The queen of the south will rise up with this generation at the judgment and will condemn it. The queen of the south. I'm not 100% sure who that
Mhm.
is.
Yeah, like all this is new to me. I'm just listening.
And then I said I've heard of the story of Jonah before, but I never knew what it
I've
was actually
never
about,
heard of
right?
it. This
Like
is
I
my
didn't
first time.
know. Like I knew he was in the big fish for 3 days, but how did he end up there? What happened after he got out? Why was he there?
Mhm.
So you explained that story, well, because Jesus called him to be a prophet somewhere. He said no. So then that event happened, came out where he was supposed to be,
Mhm.
and kind of got me thinking, don't we all kind of go through our 3-day well phase in some shape or form?
And mind
Thinking,
you, the distance that the whale had to travel was a very significant distance. Not a whale. We just say whale
You
because
just
it's a
call it
big
a whale,
fish.
yeah,
It's a
big
big fish.
fish.
It had to travel a very significant distance to get to where where God had called Jonah to go. But he needed Jonah to be the one to go there because that city was destined for hell, and he needed someone to go and save that city. And so, if it wasn't for Jonah, finally God kind of forced
Yeah,
his
he
hand,
forced-
right? But he could have tried to run away again, but he probably knew that it would be futile. But once he accepted God's calling over his life, he was able to go and save the city of Nineveh, which was seen as one of the most sinful cities in the world. So that's the story of Jonah.
And Nineveh and Gomorrah, the sinful cities.
Like Sodom and Gomorrah,
Sodom
we're
and
seeing
Gomorrah.
the cities. Sodom and Gomorrah is the one that got burned down, and there's a lot of stories like that.
Yeah,
but
it's
it's
a lot
it's
to
similar
digest.
as far as they were very sinful cities, but they had different outcomes because Sodom and Gomorrah actually got burned to the ground. Like God sent destruction to Sodom and Gomorrah, even though He gave them opportunities to be saved, but He was able to save. I believe it was, who was it? Was it Lot? I forgot who it was off the top of my head, but he was able to save one follower and his family
Yeah, I
because his
remember hearing
family
that.
was committed to. But whenever they were trying to run away from the city, because God sent His angels, and I believe it was Gabriel was the one that was escorting them, and from the city, and as he was trying to escort them from the city, his wife turned around whenever the angel has specifically said, "Do not turn around and look back at the city." She turned around
Woman.
and she turned into stone or like a lime salt
Because she saw the angel.
because she saw her instruction was to not turn around to
Mhm.
look back at the city as it was burning, as it was receiving judgment. But she
Mhm.
did.
And these are the angels that
These are the archangels.
Was this before Jesus?
This is way before.
see
Jesus.
now, because now
This is all the Old Testament.
now we're getting into the point where now we're not just doing surface level interpretation of the reading. Now we got to know more stories and more context. So in all those evil cities, did he have different prophets in each one that he called?
Different
Or-
prophets
yeah.
to go and try to save each city, but some cities were more rebellious than others.
Right. Okay.
And some cities were far from saving. And even though Jesus gave opportunities, you know, his judgment would be, I wouldn't say it's inevitable, but they had a choice to make and they would reject God.
And
so God would
the-
be just in that.
The prophets are different than the disciples, right?
Yeah, prophets are, yeah, I mean there's even prophets that you could say like that exist now. But they just bring prophetic words. They're the ones that had, for example, like Moses is a prophet, Abraham is a prophet, David is a prophet. They're the ones that bring forth God's word. They're the ones that they set the precedent for Jesus, and he fulfills every single one of the prophecies that, for example, Jonah, he was a prophet, and what is Jesus? He's fulfilling that prophecy in a different way. Isaiah is another book of prophecy. There's different books in the Old Testament that are simply prophetic, and whenever you read those, and Jesus, whenever he's speaking, he references the Old Testament the entire time. Like I said, the word was existing, and it says, even I believe it's later on in this chapter, or it's somewhere in the Gospels, but it says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." And Jesus always proclaims to himself that he is the Word, right? But that's a direct reference to an Old Testament quote, right? So Jesus says as he's alive, everything that he's referencing in the Bible, it happened in the Old Testament. All of this stuff that he's using that's why he says that he didn't come to rewrite the word. He came to fulfill it. Because the word was already existing. They had the word accessible to them. He was coming to fulfill the prophecies that had been set forth in the Old Testament. So that's why it's valuable to know the Old Testament, because if you don't know the Old Testament, that's all Jesus is talking about. That's all he's referencing. So if you don't know the Old Testament, then it'll slip your mind whenever he's talking about, well, Jonah, what does that even mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so that's why it's important to know the Old Testament, because that's all Jesus was talking about and referencing. And then you'll see the prophecies that he actually comes and fulfills.
What's the last book of the Old Testament? Do you know
The
off
last
top
book of
your
the
head?
Old Testament?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Matthew's the first book of the New Testament. So
Malachi then?
whichever one. Malachi.
The Malachi, what was he? Is he a prophet or disciple?
Malachi was a prophet that learned under Elijah,
Mm-hmm.
which Elijah is seen as one of the holiest men in the entire Bible, or Elisha. There's two Elijahs. Well, there's Elisha and Elijah. There's a lot of great stories in the Old Testament. I think God did a whole bunch of. He had a bunch of miraculous acts happen, and through the prophets, he was able to do some really crazy things. And you hear a lot of the stories, for example, with Moses. That's the most popular one. But one that Elisha had done was he was challenging the what are they called? Like the king, whatever. And he was challenging him, and he said that whoever God is the strongest is gonna. They're basically competing against gods, right? And he had said, "We'll see whose God will set this wood on fire." And he said, "Soak mine with water, and you can do whatever rituals you want to do. Call out to your God and let him set this on fire." And so they, did their dances, did their rituals, and whatever, did their sacrifices for days, crying out to their idol to set this wood on fire. Nothing happened. And then Elisha calls out to God, and immediately God sends down lightning and sets this wood that was been soaked in water, sets it on fire to prove that he's the real God. Like, God did a lot of things like that in the Old Testament.
That's cool. I'd like to read that one.
There's a lot of great stuff. I mean, you can read. There's a lot. Like I really enjoy the story of Joseph, who was known as like the Prince of Dreams, because he had a special ability to interpret dreams and they would come true. Like, he had this very unique ability, but his father and his brothers didn't. They hated him and they sold him into slavery. And as he was sold into slavery, and he was able to become one of the slaves of what's it called? What are they called? The pharaohs, whatever. And he started interpreting dreams for them, and then he got to a really high status right underneath the what are they called? The pharaoh.
Pharaoh.
But then the pharaoh's wife accused Joseph of sleeping with her, so he got sent to prison again. And then while he was in prison, he never let his faith waver from God, and he was able to have an opportunity again to interpret dreams for the pharaoh, and he interpreted them successfully, and so he got released from prison and sent back to that top position of being right underneath the pharaoh, and he was given wealth and riches, and his family came all that time later because they were going through a famine at the time, and they were coming and they were put forth before him, and they didn't even recognize him, right? Because they had sold him off to slavery. They didn't recognize him, and this was decades had passed, and he chose at that time to forgive him and give his riches that he had to his family who didn't deserve it. But that's another story.
And that was
story
who?
of Joseph.
Joseph.
That's the story of Joseph. There's one which I'm sure y'all heard of. That's the one with the hair. I'm sure y'all know him. What's his name?
Long hair.
Long hair. Long hair. You ever heard where he cut his hair, he loses his powers?
Oh, is it kind of like Rapunzel, but not like it's in the Bible, right?
Yeah.
But it's that same similar
But it's
concept.
it's a similar story, where he had hair and his hair gave him tremendous strength. Um, but he fell in love with a woman. Her name was Delilah, and he ended up falling in love with her. And while he was asleep, she cut his hair, and whenever she cut his hair, he lost his super strength pretty much.
Mm.
Um, but it was his fault because he fell in love with this woman that he wasn't supposed to be with because they were unevenly yoked. This was whenever the Bible's trying to teach about getting with a woman that's equally yoked with you because they were from two separate lands. He wasn't supposed to fall in love with her. He did anyways, and it cost him his strength. But then he was at the temple, and the temple collapsed on itself, and he was blinded because I forgot exactly why, but he got his sight taken from him. And then as the pillars, I don't know if you ever seen the image of the pillars being held up, like from a guy that's standing and holding the pillars up.
Yeah.
The pillars had fallen on him, and then he was holding it up, and he got his strength back by giving reverence to God. And I don't know. There's a bunch of crazy stories, bro.
So to find a story, do you have to read the whole chapter, or is it just like a parable, or is it like they're
There's
random?
the books. They're throughout the Bible.
You have to read the whole chapter. Like if there was a book about, I don't know, Jonah, which one would that be in?
I think that one's in First Kings.
You have to read.
I'm not sure. I gotta look back at it.
But you have to read the whole thing of First Kings to get to that story, or you can kind of just like cherry pick stories.
I mean, you can cherry pick stories, but it's good to understand the context because they're connected with one another.
Mm-hmm.
Like it, because Jesus will always he mentions that he serves the same, or he is the God of Abraham, Isaac, Moses, Jacob, David, because they're all connected with one another. I mean, they say Jesus is the son of David, which he is. If you look at the genealogy, Jesus is a direct descendant of David. So like they are all connected, and it's good to read all of them so you understand who comes from who and what. It's literally like you're reading a story from the first book, and you just continue it on, right? Instead of just popping in the middle of the story.
Yeah.
It's good to start. I mean, really, it's all great stuff.
Yeah.
It's all great stuff.
Okay.
And then you also see like the promises that God gave to the prophets back then, and it's powerful. Yes. And then you see how it manifests in Jesus, like the parallels between the Old Testament and the New Testament.
It's a great book. I think we can kind of sum up that last part too, just from that last sentence for verse 50. For whoever does the will of my Father in heaven is my brother and sister and mother. I feel like that's the main one of that little spot.
Yeah. Saying that we are one. We are one in Christ as followers. Yeah. I think also, one thing that we can try to, one other point that he made in this chapter, whenever he's talking about the unclean spirits, where you try to overcome it, right? You try to overcome it and you think you do, but then it's going to come back and test you 7 times worse than what it was before you even casted it out. And I think that's a warning to be diligent and stay connected with Christ, because there's plenty of things that we battle with in our lives personally, that we struggle with, certain sins, certain habits that we know are not good for us, but we still do it anyways, right? And whenever we choose to finally give it up and we're saying, you know what, we're gonna live life another way. We're gonna live it for Christ. You gotta be prepared for whatever habits that you're letting go of to not just come back, but they're gonna come back stronger with more temptation. Now it's like, okay, well, I was battling lust, right? You were battling lust whenever you were hardly getting any women, and now you're in a better position, and now a whole bunch of women are just throwing themselves at you, right? Before it was a struggle, but think about it now, where it's going to be even harder to push that away. Or let's say it was alcohol, right? Where, you weren't getting invited out anywhere, but you were still drinking and you were struggling with it. But now you've given up drinking, and now you're getting invited to every single club, every single party that's there. You got to be prepared for your demons that you've exorcised. They're going to confront you again. They're going to test you again, but it's going to be even more difficult to overcome them than before. So I think that right there is also a warning towards that specific thing happening is you might overcome something, right? You might get past some sort of wall, some sort of habit, but be prepared, build yourself strong enough so that whenever it does come back stronger and more difficult to ignore, you are prepared and able and capable of still overcoming it.
This is a great message right there. Never really thought about like, yeah, you were struggling with something, you beat it, but you never really fully beat it. It's gonna come back times 7.
Yeah, like the temptations are only going to get stronger, especially as we continue to grow, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because what's the enemy's ultimate goal is to pull us away from God, and that's all that does.
And the closer we get, the harder he's gonna try.
Exactly. Well,
And you, Raju, any
Any
final
any
thoughts?
closing thoughts?
God bless.
The go-to. Huh?
The go-to.
God
Alrighty,
bless.
guys. Well, thank you for tuning into this episode of Confessions. We appreciate you. Please consider like, commenting, subscribe if you haven't already. We're at 250 subscribers. We will catch y'all all on the next one very soon. Stay warm. Love y'all.